Hey, Charles Hoffman here from Plugin Alliance. To start a professional podcast, you have to know how to record, edit, and process dialogue. Luckily, it's pretty straightforward if you have the right gear and know what you're doing. I'm going to show you how to go from recordings that sound like this. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters, to recordings that sound like this. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. The assumption here is that you're not an audio person, so I'll be showing you all the hardware and software required and how to use it. The first thing you need is a sound-treated recording space. This is the main reason people end up with poor quality recordings. An empty bedroom makes for a very poor recording space. When you speak, your voice echoes off the drywall, and in a recording, it sounds like you're in a tin can. No amount of pro audio gear will fix this. You need to address the problem before recording. Thick, porous material is great at absorbing sound. A cheap solution involves hanging thick moving blankets on your walls. You can install grommets in the moving blankets and attach them to command hooks, which is a good option if you rent an apartment. You can also take the moving blankets down when you're not recording. If you want to create a dedicated recording space and have a higher budget, you can build or purchase acoustic panels. These are wooden frames packed with insulation that absorb sound. The more panels you put on the walls, the less your dialogue will sound washed out. For recording podcast dialogue, both options will work just fine. There are plenty of different microphones you can use to record podcast dialogue, but the Shure SM7B is one of the most used podcast mics. It's a cardioid dynamic microphone, meaning it mostly picks up sound in front of the microphone capsule. It provides great off-axis rejection, so ambient room sounds like fans and computer noise will be less present in your recordings. Since it's a dynamic mic, it smooths out harshness and plosives, providing a rich, full-bodied tone. When you speak close to it, it picks up the lowest frequencies of your voice, delivering a classic podcast or radio announcer sound. If you're looking for a cheaper alternative, you may want to consider a Shure SM58. This is also a cardioid dynamic mic. It's usually used on stage as a vocal mic because you can hold it, and it has excellent off-axis rejection. The difference in sound quality between these microphones is smaller than you might think. If you get a Shure SM7B, you'll want to pair it with a Cloudlifter preamp. You need a lot of gain to get a clean signal from an SM7B, and this is actually its main drawback. However, the gain boost that a Cloudlifter provides solves this problem, allowing you to record low noise dialogue. To connect your microphone to a Cloudlifter, you'll use an XLR microphone cable. Microphones create an analog signal in response to sound waves that need to be converted into a digital signal that your computer can understand. An audio interface is a box that lets you perform analog to digital or AD conversion. You can also do the opposite and convert a digital signal into an analog signal. This is called DA conversion. The first time you connect your audio interface to your computer, follow the setup instructions. Most audio interfaces need you to install some drivers before working properly. This is just some software you download from the company's website. You'll plug your audio interface into your computer using the cable it comes with. Then you'll connect the output of your Cloudlifter to a microphone input. If the input has a phantom power or plus 48V switch, you'll want to make sure it's turned on. While an SM7B doesn't need phantom power, a Cloudlifter does. At this point, you can record audio into your computer. When shopping around for an audio interface, the number of microphone inputs it has will influence your decision. If you want to record a podcast with 4 people, you'll need 4 microphones and 4 microphone inputs. A Scarlett 2i2 is the audio interface that a lot of people go for. It has 2 microphone inputs, so you can record 2 people at once, a headphone output, and outputs for a pair of speakers. It also provides a direct monitoring feature. As you speak into your microphone, you can listen directly to what you're saying without latency using a pair of headphones. Before you start recording, you should get rid of any background noises. In my space, I have a tower fan and air conditioner that I turn off every time I record. Microphone placement can also affect the quality of your recordings. If you're too far away from the mic, you won't pick up your voice very well, and it can get drowned out by the noise in your room. I like how my recordings sound when I'm about 6 to 12 inches away from my microphone. A digital audio workstation, or DAW, allows you to record, edit, and process dialogue on your computer. There are tons of digital audio workstations available like Ableton, Logic Pro, Pro Tools, Studio One, Cubase, Fruity Loops. It doesn't matter which one you use. If you already have one, use it. I'll be using Pro Tools Intro. This is a free version of Pro Tools without all the features, but it's going to do everything we need. When you open Pro Tools, you'll be asked to choose a playback engine. If you followed your audio interface's setup instructions, you should see it as an option here. Give your project a name, choose WAV as the file type, set the sample rate to 48 kHz, and choose a 32-bit bit depth. If you click Location, you can choose where to save the project on your computer. Then click Create. This is your main workspace. Before recording dialogue, you need to make an audio track. Click Track, New. Select Audio Track, Mono, and call the track Dialogue 1. Make sure the track has these inserts and I/O sections. If it doesn't, click on this icon and make sure both sections have a check mark beside them. In the first I/O drop-down menu, choose the microphone input on your audio interface that you've plugged your mic into. Also, make sure your audio interface's main outputs are selected in the menu below. Now you're ready to record audio. Start by record arming the track, and then click the Session Record button. When you click this play icon or hit the space bar on your keyboard, you'll start recording. It looks like my input signal is too loud. When I play this back, you'll hear it sounds crunchy and distorted. This is test dialogue to give you a sense of how my voice sounds when recorded through this audio interface. If you click on Window, Mix, you'll see a level meter with numbers on it. Unfortunately, you can't just turn down the volume with the slider after recording. The distortion's baked into the signal, so you need to re-record after turning down the input gain in your audio interface. You want the loudest parts of your signal peaking around 15 on this meter. If the signal jumps above 0, it's going to distort, so it's best to give yourself some headroom. You can make the signal louder once it's been recorded, but you're just aiming for a clean audio signal here. Your raw dialogue will sound something like this. This is my second attempt at clean dialogue. It should sound a lot better and less distorted than before. You can hear that there's background noise, noticeable breaths, and some weird mouth sounds. You're also probably going to have some awkward pauses or sections that you don't want to include. Brainworx BX Refinement v3 provides a simple solution to harshness in complex recordings. You can use it to take the edge off vocals, cymbals, guitars, and full mixes. Version 3 includes a new GUI, added features, and optimized code. Removing these manually involves highlighting all the background noise and breaths, then pressing Delete on your keyboard to remove them. From there, you can apply a volume fade to the edge of each clip using the fade handles that appear when you hover over the top corners of a clip. Brainworx BX Refinement v3 provides a simple solution to harshness in complex recordings. You can use it to take the edge off vocals, cymbals, guitars, and full mixes. Version 3 includes a new GUI, added features, and optimized code. Editing your dialogue that way works great, but it's time-consuming. Pro Tools has features that can speed up the process. You can remove background noise and breaths with just a few clicks using the Strip Silence feature. To do this, click on Edit, Strip Silence. The threshold sets the level below which audio content will be removed. For example, anything under -38 decibels will get deleted. As you adjust this, look at the lines on your audio clip to make sure all your dialogue is included in the thick black boxes. Reducing the minimum strip duration will create smaller selections, allowing you to remove background noise between words. The main thing you need to look out for when doing this is removing dialogue that you want to keep. The clip start pad adds a buffer to the beginning of all your selections, and the clip end pad adds a buffer to the end. You can see how this saves a lot of time if you've recorded a 2 or 3 hour podcast. Unfortunately, it's not perfect. You might end up with some breaths that you still want to delete, or audio clips that have been trimmed too much. But making those small fixes is a lot faster than editing everything from scratch. Pro Tools also has a shuffle edit feature that makes removing unwanted dialogue and gaps between dialogue much easier. In the default slip mode, if you highlight an audio clip and click delete on your keyboard, the clip will just disappear. When you click on shuffle mode, making a selection and clicking delete not only removes the audio clip, but also removes the time, shifting dialogue from the right to the left. You can also apply fades to all your audio clips at once. Highlight all the clips you want to fade, and then navigate to Edit, Fades. A menu appears that lets you control the shape and length of fade-ins, crossfades, and fade-outs. In most cases, the default settings will work fine. Trimming your audio clips removes noise between words, but there's still going to be some low-level noise embedded in sections where you're speaking. You need to use a denoise plugin like iZotope's RX Voice Denoise to get rid of that. RX is what a lot of post-production engineers use when editing dialogue for films. There's links to all the plugins used in this video below. After you install RX, click on an empty insert slot and search for Voice Denoise. First, you'll calibrate the plugin to the noise in your room by pulling up a section of silence that you deleted. Start playback, click Learn, give it a few seconds to analyze the noise, and then stop playback. Make sure Optimize for Dialogue and Surgical are selected. If it sounds like the processing is making your dialogue sound muffled, you can drop the threshold level. The reduction slider affects the maximum depth of noise reduction applied. If it sounds like you've successfully targeted just the noise with the threshold slider, but it's still too noisy, try moving the reduction slider to adjust the intensity of the noise reduction. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. RX works great, but it's not a substitute for sound treating your recording space. The better your raw recordings sound, the better the final result will sound. A compressor reduces the dynamic range of audio signals, making the difference between loud and quiet sounds smaller. I'm loading 3-Body Technologies' Cenozoics compressor onto the track. To keep things simple, I'm going to give you some recommended compressor settings for dialogue. Use a ratio of 4:1, an attack time of 10 milliseconds, and a release time of 80 milliseconds. To set the threshold level, click Display and set the minimum decibel level to -90. This doesn't do anything to the sound, but it changes the scale of the display so you can see the waveform better. Now you'll play back your audio and adjust the threshold level so this blue line sits just above the lowest level peaks in the waveform. What's happening is that all the audio peaking above the blue line is being compressed or sandwiched to a more consistent level. Gain reduction is applied to achieve this, and the green line indicates how much gain reduction occurs over time. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. The signal's a more consistent level now. You don't have certain words that are poking out and much louder than others. However, the overall signal is quieter than before. So, to bring the level back up, click this A button. The plugin will automatically compensate for the gain reduction you've applied. Here's the before and after. Listen to how the unprocessed recording sounds quiet then loud, and how the processed recording sounds like it's just one consistent level. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. An equalizer lets you adjust the amplitude of frequencies throughout the frequency spectrum. Most car stereos have an equalizer that lets you adjust the level of bass frequencies, mids, and highs. In this case, we're going to use an EQ to remove low-end rumble and add some clarity. I'm using 3-Body Technologies' Kirchhoff EQ. To remove low-end, I'll double-click on this line, select High Pass from this drop-down menu, and set the frequency to around 80 Hz. This will help reduce issues like electrical hum and floor vibrations moving up your mic stand. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. If you have a deeper voice, you may want to boost top end. Add another band, select High Shelf, and set the frequency to around 5000 Hz. Then increase the gain by a few decibels. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX Refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. The last step is maximizing loudness while ensuring you don't clip the signal. If you just turn up the track level to make it louder, it's going to distort. So add a limiter like BX Limiter True Peak to your track and set the ceiling to -2 decibels. Drive the gain until you consistently see 1 to 2 decibels of compression being applied. What you're doing here is boosting the level of the dialog into the ceiling of the limiter, and anything that exceeds the ceiling level gets compressed instead of distorting. You can use BX refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. What's the deal with the 2 decibel ceiling? Well, it has to do with how streaming services process your recording when you upload it. They convert your file into various other file formats, and distortion can occur during that process if you don't leave some headroom. Let's take a final listen to the dialogue with no processing applied and full processing applied. You can use BX refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. You can use BX refinement to smooth out edgy vocals, harsh cymbals, spiky acoustic guitars, and resonant masters. Now it's time to export your dialogue. Highlight the dialogue that you want to include in the export. Then go to File, Bounce Mix. Give the file a name, make sure file format is interleaved, the bit depth is 24, and sample rate is 48. Choose where you want to save the file and click Bounce. This is the file that you'll upload online. To demo the Plugin Alliance plugins used in this video, start a free Megaplan trial using the link below. This will give you access to all of Plugin Alliance's products for 30 days. If this tutorial helped you out, give it a like and subscribe to the Plugin Alliance YouTube channel for more podcasting tips like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.